Hello, my name is Johnny Whitfield. I am the editor of the Courier-Times here in Roxboro, and today we're with Tim Chandler, who is a candidate for the City Council. And Tim, thank you for taking the time to come and talk to us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us what you do for a living, and a little bit about your background, would you?
I will, and it's fun to sit with you. For 27 years, I was in this building, sitting here at the Courier-Times. I started out as the sports editor, and which was my dream job. I had always wanted to. Winky Wilkins was the sports editor, and I thought he had the best job in the whole wide world. And Jerry Clayton, who's Bren's father, the current owner's father, called me. I had just gone to Burlington, been there about 3 months, and Winky was going to move on, and he asked me about taking the sports editor's job. So I hastily took that job and loved every single minute of it. And I later had a chance to become the associate editor. Winky had come back in that position, and then he left to pursue a spot on the North Carolina House of Representatives. And so I took that associate editor position, and then Neil Radican, who was our longtime editor, a great guy, you know it, he retired, and I took his place and spent probably the last 12 or 13 years in that spot. And developed of course, I'm born and raised in Person County, other than when I went to East Carolina. I was born and raised in Person County, and deep love for Roxboro and Person County. And a little over 2 years ago, my wife and I moved to the city. And a hint was dropped to me then about running for city council. Well, obviously, as at the newspaper, that was not an option. But I had an opportunity about a year ago, and then I moved on it in February to pursue a career in real estate. And I didn't want to go back to school. Man, that real estate school is hard, but I was able to successfully go through that, and I developed a good career already in real estate, and it afforded me the opportunity to once again try to give back to the community, and so that's why I decided to run. And like you, of course, right now I'm on leave of absence from the Rotary Club, the Roxboro Rotary Club, and I've been active in that for several years. Served on the board and all the way up through the chain, and I'm a past president. 2013-14, I was a president of Roxboro Rotary Club. That does a lot of good things for Person County. So that was educational and a great experience for me. And as you know, the Rotary Club's a great organization. My wife is Paula Chandler. She's a longtime educator. Unlike me, she's getting older, but she is the director of elementary education for Person County Schools, and has had a great career here in Person County, and loves living where we live now on Crestwood Drive. She's 30 seconds from work where the Board of Education office is, so we love that. We have two children. Jaden is almost 12. She won't let me say 11. She's almost 12. She's at Northern Middle School, her sixth grade year there. She's playing volleyball over there and is loving it. And my youngest daughter, Holland, is at Storage Creek Elementary School. She's almost 10. Both birthdays are coming up pretty soon, and Holland's big in gymnastics, and has been very successful in that. And so my parents are both passed away, but Elliot and Peggy Chandler are my parents. I lived right outside the city limits. I grew up on Chubb Lake Road, which 4 houses from being in the city limits. I was at 801 Chubb Lake growing up, and so I've always had a great connection with Roxboro and Person County. And deep down, I guess it was called what Winky did. I kind of always thought, man, it would be cool to run for elective office and give back to your community. Right. And being in the situation I'm in now, it afforded me the chance to do that, and I'm kind of excited about it.
Well, that actually leads into my next question, which is, talk to us a little bit about why you are running. What attracted you to the opportunity?
Like I said, I've always wanted to be a part of Person County. That's what drew me into the Rotary Club. That's part of what, as you know, as being in the newspaper business, it draws you into the business that you want to be able to give back to your community. And Roxboro's in good shape now. I mean, we've got some good people up there at City Hall that are doing some good things. But I felt like I knew there were a couple of people that were not going to be running. I know that Mr. Daniels running for mayor, and I knew that Will Davis had moved out of the city, and he's now in the county as a resident. And I felt like, I'm not going to call myself an incumbent, but I felt like with my knowledge of what goes on, with city government and county government, I felt like I was almost like an incumbent, and that I knew the inner workings of what goes on. And through my time at the paper with police chief is David Hess, and the fire chief is Kenneth Torrey, I've developed a great relationship with those places. And then you got Andy Oakley over at Public Works, and Tommy Warren, the assistant manager, and Brooks Lockhart does a great job as city manager. I just felt like I would be a good fit, and I felt like I could offer some things to. Granted, we've done some good things in the city, but there's room for improvement, and there's room to make some strides forward in the city.
So as you look at your skills and abilities and personality traits, what do you think would make you a good city council member?
I feel like I get along well with people in the community. I feel like I interact well with people in the community. I feel like I can talk to business people to help attract things to Roxboro and Person County. I would like to see more representation from the city on the Economic Development Commission. That's changed a little bit. I would like to see more input from the city there. I would like to see more input from the city and the county together as far as working together on things. But I feel like I could offer a chance to make. I know all the members of the county commissioners, and I feel like I could offer a voice that would maybe bring that unity there.
So the other side of that coin is that we know nobody's perfect, and we all have strengths and weaknesses. What do you feel like your biggest weaknesses would be as a council member?
I would say if I had a weakness would be I've never owned a business. I've never operated a business. I've managed a business, and technically now I guess I am a businessman. I run my own business kind of in a way. I work with Keller Williams, but I manage my own time in the business. So just not knowing exactly how to manage a business, I think would be, if there's a weakness there. We got some strengths up there who do know that. So.
Right. So how do you overcome that weakness?
Study, man. And I never thought I'd want to study again, but when I mentioned earlier about the real estate school and how challenging and difficult that was, and if I've done one thing, I think I've become a better. I budget my time better. I budget my strengths better. And I study hard as I can. To try to learn as much as I can. I'm doing that with my career now, and also with the city government.
So let me ask you about sort of the next 4 years. What, as you look forward, what do you see as sort of the next big challenge for the city of Roxboro?
Yeah, we're making great strides. Last night at the city council meeting, they approved, and it's long overdue, the Desert Sands building up there. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. Right now, it's got Doug Muell's mural on there, but they finally approved, and it's gone back and forth from Roxboro Development Group to City Council and back and forth. But they received a grant and around $100,000, and that's going to be turned into a park. But the facade of the building is going to remain there, and they're going to turn that into like a green space that's going to give you access to walk through to the Kirby over here, which is a great situation there. And then you've got the Heirloom Restaurant right around the corner. So it's going to be like a community gathering place. It'll be lit and have artwork and all. So that's a great thing. We do have one challenge Roxboro has that a lot of cities don't have is there are some privately owned buildings up there. And until they are freed up to where they can be sold or occupied, that's always going to be a challenge. And that would be my goal is to get these buildings that are not occupied other than with furniture and things like that at a place where Roxboro can make use of that and make us grow even better.
How does the city council do something like that? mean, how do you accomplish that?
That's a good that's a good question, and it's a great challenge. And of course, I'm not on council now.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
but we're asking these questions.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
you were going to become a council
And,
member.
all you can do with the situation with the buildings that are non-occupied that
Right.
aren't offered for sale is beg and plead, and,
Mhm.
and I do think one day that situation will turn around and will become a better situation. I mean, if you ride through town, there's several buildings up there that
Mhm.
great use could be made of those
Right.
buildings if they were available.
Right. Okay. Um, One of the things that I have seen in our community since I've been here is that there are times when the city and the county get along really well and they work together and accomplish things. There are other times when they don't see eye to eye and those relationships can be strained. And I wonder how you as a city council member would approach trying to strengthen that relationship between the city and the county.
And I agree, it needs to be strengthened. There used to be joint meetings. It was either quarterly or semi-annual, but and that's something that I would love to see put back in place. I was covering it for the paper here, but they used to get together at the FEMA building,
Right.
and they would have a dinner, and they would meet about various things. There was an agenda, about as much information as you have on your paper there, but they would just go over topics of common interest. And I do know from my time at the newspaper here that I've got good relationships with each member of the county commissioners, and I would like to see if there is any ill will there. And I'm not saying there is, but I would like to. That would be one of my first objectives is to say, look, let's get together, let's meet. I know from what I've been told by current members of council, they would like to have that dialogue, ongoing dialogue. And you got several hot topics that the county is dealing with now that need city input.
Right. Okay. And you've already talked a little bit about this issue in terms of economic development and growth in the city of Roxboro. I wonder if you could talk about some tangible things that you would like to see the city do to help spur growth in Roxboro, whether it's uptown or in other parts of the city or anywhere else.
I know they have the beautification committee, with the city, the RDG, and with Uptown Development Group. Lauren Rand does an outstanding job up there. But, I would like to see, well, first and foremost, I'd like to see some of those vacant buildings that are not where they can be occupied. I'd like to see that developed to where they could be occupied. I know there was talk at City Council last night about some more beautification projects uptown. Halls Way has been a great asset uptown. The Kirby Revitalization Project, great asset uptown.
So is there a way to take those successful projects and not necessarily expand them, but to build on that sort of inertia and make Roxboro?
I think so. I think you got the gathering place, which has apartments upstairs, and of course Halls Way. And I think Halls Way has spurred the idea of, hey, we can do this. Now, I didn't get it under contract. I dealt with some people who were working with the former Fogelman's Mint Shop building, and another agent has gotten that under contract.
Right.
So, and you've got the Heirloom Restaurant. So people are seeing that you can take the old buildings and you can put a business downstairs and you can put apartments upstairs, and that just increases the growth and the idea. And there's several other buildings that are available uptown, but the more that they see that happen, the more I think it's a possibility of it even happening more.
Okay. And we're running short on time, but I've got one last question that I wanted to ask you about, and I wonder if you could talk about some things that you would like to see the city do that they're not already doing that would increase and improve transparency in local government.
The thing about, like, we're doing this interview right here now, I would like to see, I know the county tapes their meetings, and I would like to see the meetings taped perhaps and put on the website for the city. I think that would be a good way to have some transparency, and maybe just promote nobody really wants to go to a meeting at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night or whatever. But promote the meetings more and get community involvement there, whether it's through advertising or whatever. Of course, I know you have to advertise when you got a public hearing coming up and things like that. But just get out and invite people. You got Facebook now; you can invite people to the meetings and things. But I think the biggest thing would be to have the meetings taped, kind of like the county does, and put them on the internet.
Right. Well, listen, we appreciate you taking the
Yeah,
time
man.
for us. And thank you for watching, and I hope that you will get out and vote. Election Day is October 10th, and early voting begins on September 21st.